You good? Okay. Oh, sorry. Then I think this one is working here. Okay. Hi, everyone. I hope you're doing good. I'm super happy to be here today and to talk to you about a topic that I really love and I'm passionate about. And I wanted to thank also a lot Alexis to give me this opportunity. Um, I would like to know how many freelancers are here today. If you could raise your hands. Okay, so a lot. And how many product managers? I think, oh, okay, very good. And how many people are working on ops automations and building products for companies? Okay, so quite a lot. Okay, so this talk is for you, except if you work with Brilliance, because I think they already do a lot of product management without saying it. But yeah, so my point today is that I think as a code maker, especially if you do ops, you cannot afford to ignore product management if you want to build a useful and impactful products, or else you can. It's not going to be interesting for you, but yeah, the idea is to build products that people are going to use and that can scale also. Can you hear me well? Is it good? Okay. I need to do this here. Okay. Ou là? Okay. Okay. So there is something I would like to share with you is the idea that I don't really understand why we consider, for example, Airbnb, Uber, and things like this. Oops. And things like this as products, and why we don't consider. Wait. Ben non. I'm going to try again. But why we don't consider products like this as products? It's like Airtable and Make, because I hear this a lot, that for products that are made for external users, we really consider product management and why it's useful. But when it comes to ops, we really think we don't need this because it's just about process automation. And I think it's a really bad idea. Ah, ok, je viens de comprendre. Okay, so I think the problem is that in the no-code world, it's really fresh and young, this sector. I think we really have a problem of the fact that we lack from professionalization because people, and especially in companies and especially newbies, for all the people who want to take pictures, if you want, I give you the link of the presentation at the end, but you can take pictures too if you want. So yeah, people in companies and especially developers and people who don't know no-code also can see it as something really amateur, not professional, and not really reliable. And also there is a big lack of institutionalization. This word is so horrible to say when you are French. Because we don't really have methodologies in common and we don't really have processes. So everyone does his thing, but we don't share common resources and methodologies. And I think it's also because no-code is really new. But I think it's something we should change. And also I see this a lot. But we really think more about feature than the product itself. So we ship a lot of features, but we don't think about the global product vision. So I think we build without real purpose, and it's a problem because then you cannot make sure that all your users are going to use your product and that your client is going to come with you in this direction if you don't have one. And it's the same if you work in team. With developers, it's really complicated to bring them with you if you don't know where you're going. So, for the people who don't know about product management, for the people who don't know what is product management about, I like to explain to my friends that don't know anything about my job that it's really simple actually, and it's just to understand why we do things and to understand why do we build products. So it's just to make sure that the solutions we build are used, because actually if you build something really nice but it's not used by anyone, it's going to be really useless. And then your solution is not going to be used. So if you don't have any users, then your product is dead and it's going to end up in the trash. So the first people you need to make sure are going to go in the same direction than you is your users. And I also like to say that product management is for poor people, but it's a joke because product managers are pretty expensive. But if we would have limitless time, money, and energy, we wouldn't have to consider how can we optimize our resources, how can we rationalize, because we just wouldn't care to waste time, money, and efforts. So, now that I said this, I'm going to introduce myself. So I'm Manon. I'm a no-code product manager, and I don't like actually now to say that I'm a product builder, because for me this job title is a bit tricky. And I'm specialized in ops and backend. And I used to work as a lead product builder at HEC Paris, and that's also why I really don't like to use this job title, because it's really too general for me. But it's been 1 year now that I'm a freelancer, and I co-founded with my colleague Thibaut, who's here, a collective which is called Pando. So we are 3 people, 2 product managers and 1 developer. And our goal is to empower companies and social economy organizations in their digital development. So, to understand why I'm talking to you about this today, I need to tell you a bit about my journey to no-code. Because actually, I was really not made for this job. I come from social sciences, so I was really a noob, but like a total one. Like, I didn't even know what the word tech means. So, like, for me, it was some obscure thing, like, really weird. And the thing is that since I do this job, my friends ask me, like, since when, Manon, do you know how to use a computer? Because really, I was really, really far away. For me, like, developers and no-code makers, I didn't even know it exists, but were some really weird people that were doing weird stuff and, like, shady things. So I really had no idea about this. And I discovered no-code and product management together because I was hired in a job as a product builder. And for me, it was really like something obvious that those 2 worlds of product management and no-code were communicating with each other and were really useful to each other. So that's really how I discovered those disciplines. So that was me when I discovered them together. Because actually, I thought like, okay, with no-code, you can go really fast and build products really fast and go really fast from ideas to product and launch MVPs. And with product management, you really care about how you can rationalize your efforts and optimize them. So I was like, okay, if you can go fast and with good methodologies, actually those 2 disciplines should be really good with each other. But the thing is that I did this job for a few months, and then I went to the real world of no-code and product management. And I discovered that there was almost no link at all between them. And to be honest, I became really like frustrated and disillusioned because I understood that so many no-code makers, especially with ops, were working like, no, I just automate process, so I don't need to care about all those kind of methodologies. And I was super sad, to be honest, because for me, it was like the greatest discovery of my life. And I was like, how is it possible that so many people just don't know about it and don't care? So that's why I'm having this talk today, because I think that if we use more product management, we can really make no-code more consistent. So I was like, how is it possible that no-code makers and developers, they are in charge of technical research, implementation, and product managers are focused to have and to build a strong strategic vision, and they are in charge of prioritizing and build a roadmap. And I was like, how is it possible that we can imagine to just build a product without having all of this? And I think so many people, they just sell hours to clients, but without having this strong idea of a roadmap and without really knowing where they're going to go. Oops. So this is based on my personal experience, but I've seen that there were many ways to ruin digital projects, but that the biggest one was when you don't understand your users' needs, because it can happen sometimes that you don't make good decisions about the technical team members you're going to work with, and this is really bad because it happened to us too, and sometimes we're like, okay, this is not going to work out. But sometimes you also have the fact that you don't have a good estimation of time and money. But this is really related to the fact that most of the time you don't really understand people's needs and also your user needs. So for me, I see no code as an iceberg because the smallest part is the cheapest one, and the fastest one is the fact that you can really build and ship easily and fast. But I think we most of the time forget the other parts, which is really big, and it takes also time and efforts, which is the fact that you really need to be able to build really fast products and that are good. You really need to spend way more time by discovering user needs, to prioritize your features, and to define solution, to not to do all the things that your clients ask you to. Because most of the time, he comes to you with a big amount of features he would love to do for his teams because he knows his teams so well and he knows his teams are going to listen to him. So, for example, are there some Jean-Michel in the room? No? Okay. So we're going to talk about Jean-Michel. So let's imagine Jean-Michel, who's going to come to you as a no-code freelance developer and who's going to say, okay, I realized something in my company. We have some problems. We spend, I don't know, too much time doing this. So I need you to automate those things so that we can go faster. But the thing is that if you listen to Jean-Michel and you're never going to come and talk to his users, actually you can be pretty sure that your product is going to cost, I don't know, 5 to maybe 10K or 15K, but it's never going to be used by anyone because actually the methods of Jean-Mich doesn't work because it's not possible to just keep your users. So I think the time and the money we save by going faster with no code, we should not forget that it's really important to have some strong methodologies that we have in traditional software development to make sure that we answer real needs. So that's something I see a lot because as every freelancer, sometimes clients call us and say, okay, I was working with someone before, but I don't know, he left or she left. There was no documentation, and actually this is the product I have. And most of the time we are like, okay, I cannot do anything with this because it's too ugly, to be honest, so I need to start from the beginning. And you need to pay again because this is not quality product. So I think most of the time we see products like this. It's like a spaghetti plate, and everyone has just put features and features because Jean-Mich wanted them, but actually it's not used, it's nonsense. So yeah. So I think the risk when you do this is that you're going to completely miss your users' needs and you're going to completely build blind, which is risky in the long term. Also, which is bad for your client's expectations because, for example, he doesn't know that what he wants is not the right thing, but if you listen to him, you're going to have a really bad product that is not going to be used. And also, you're going to lack strategy because you're going to build without a real purpose, which is really bad for the wasting of resources and on the long term. And also, you're going to be unable to scale because you're going to think really in terms of short terms, but you're going to forget about in 2, 3, or 6 months and even 1 year. And I think a lot of no-code products are just made to last maybe 1 month or 2, but after they are just thrown. And this is not quite good. So the problem is that if you build without defining problems, you're just going to develop random client IDs. And if you don't work with a product manager, you can be sure that your product manager is going to be your client, which is a really bad idea because he pays. So he's the one who's going to tell you the need, but he's not the one who knows what his user wants. So the idea is really to go and talk to his users. You're also going to only focus on development. So you're going to skip everything about discovering the need because Jean-Michel knows everything. And also you're going to skip about measuring, which is something really bad. And also you're going to just think about shipping features, but not building a whole full solution. And also something that I see a lot, but not only in no-code, but in tech in general, is change management. And I've heard a lot about the fact that human nature is resistant to change by nature, and we cannot do anything about this because people don't like when we change their habits. But the thing is that I think some people in their work, they use way more your Airtable and Make solutions than they use Airbnb, and that it's not nothing to go in someone's everyday life at work and to change their tools because it's their actions and their work. So it's really important to consider that if people are resisting to change management, maybe it's for some good reasons, and maybe it's because their need wasn't well identified. So I think no code doesn't mean useless product. It doesn't mean technical debt, because sometimes I see it a lot. Because it's cheap and we build fast, we create a lot of technical debt because we put features and features. It doesn't mean also lack of process, because so many people, they don't take time to really write all the process and optimize them. They just build. And also it doesn't mean undocumented, because let's be clear, no one likes to write documentation, and a lot of people don't do so, but it's really a problem for people, especially the ones that don't know anything about tech and that call us, that spend, that spend 5 to 10 or 15K for a project, and that in the end they cannot do anything with it. And I think the image we give about no code and about the things we do, as no code has so many to offers in terms of tech democratization, is really a problem, because those people, the ideas they're going to have about no code is that it's something not reliable, that costs money, and that is not really effective. So I think no code doesn't mean no methodology. It doesn't mean no design. And I see it a lot, and I think it's good that tomorrow we're going to have something about design, because there are so less designers and product designers in no code, especially when you talk about ops. And also, it doesn't mean no conception, no quality, and most of all, it doesn't mean quick and dirty. And I've heard it a lot, and especially with some developers that were like, no, but it's so cheap that we don't need to do any conception before. We can just craft the solution, and we will see later. So that's why I think no code really needs product management to be more professional and more qualitative. And I think we should be really more simple about product management, because there are so many workflows, so many frameworks you can use. You can read so many books about it. But the most important thing are to use a user-centric approach and to really take effort and time to understand your users' needs. Also to build a strategic roadmap and not to go somewhere without knowing how and when. And also to keep some iteration loops and not to go like this, but to really go like this. And to be data-driven, because it's not possible to take decisions that are not based on metrics or on user feedbacks or tests. So I think if we use more product management, you can have more user focus, also more strategy, and more usefulness, and then we can stop building single-use products and solutions. And if we do this, and you can ask to Thibaut, who's here, if you are a no-code maker and you work with product managers, actually you're going to be able to really focus on what you like and your core logic, which is like automation, core logic, integrations, and also optimization. But if you like to do some product management, you can do some too, but if you don't, you can just give this to someone else. And the problem I've noticed is that for product management, this is like the product life cycle, sorry. So we first start by discovering the problem. We open all the solutions and the problem we can face with our users. Then we define a solution that could answer to it. Then we develop it and we deliver it. We do some product marketing also to make sure the solution is going to be used. We also do some workshop with users, we monitor and everything. But the problem is that in the no-code maker world, most of the time I see this. So Jean-Michel comes and say, I want this. The no-code maker does, and then it's like, okay, it's done. And the problem is the solution most of the time is not used or is not going to last long. So Jean-Michel is going to be happy, but not the users. So if you are a freelance no-code maker, you have two options. You can either collaborate with product managers, or you can train in product methods to level up your skills. And it's really, you should keep in mind that it's really simple questions, such as who are the users that need this product? Have I talked to him or her or them? Because it's not possible to build something without talking to the users. Also, you should really analyze why Jean-Michel asked you to do so, and to be sure that it's a real need. Also, you should make sure how are you going to implement this and monitor it. And most of all, you should make sure that you measure the impact and you make sure that the problem you initially see is going to be resolved. So the most important things about this are to show empathy to your users, to prioritize roadmap, to not to do everything your client asks you to, and to also be humble and simple, because it's not possible, I think, to be a designer, a product manager, a developer, and sometimes a business developer in one person. So if you decided to be a freelancer, maybe you should consider to work with other people or to gain some new skills. And for example, in our collective, we have 50% of product, 10% of design, and even for backend, because there is at least some user experience, and 40% of engineering. So yeah, if you use product management, you're gonna have better communication with your stakeholders, the person that no one wants to talk to. You're gonna have better user understanding and efficiency. And also, this is really important, but you're gonna upsell, because if you have happy clients and you really give a good answer to their needs, you're gonna have really long-term collaborations. So that's the main points I wanted to share with you today, to not to just build, but to really understand why, and to always challenge this with your clients and your customers, and to answer real needs more than just shipping features. And this is something I like to share. It's the idea that if we would have asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. So that's really the proof that Jean-Michel is not the right person to tell you what his users need, and that you should care more about their users. And I just put you the QR code if you want the presentation. And also, if you want to have more resources in French that are free to train in product management, don't hesitate, there is my LinkedIn. You can just DM me and I will send you. It will be a pleasure. Or if you want to just exchange about this. Thank you.